Hello everybody, welcome back to another food review. I'm BigLT.
Now I'm SFParker.
I have SFParker choose between two different chips we're doing. You already see the thumbnail. Why am I making it look like this? I'm holding suspense. Anyway, Chester's fries, chili cheese flavored. I got this at Walmart, but I also heard Family Dollar before, so thankfully I was able to find it at Walmart.
So I don't typically care for chili, but chili flavored things.
I don't know about that though.
Ooh. It's weird because the smell is coming off almost like a salt and vinegar potato chip kind of smell. Which is weird because I don't know why I'm getting like almost pickle kind of sour spicy.
Now I'm worried because of pickle. You know what? I'm going to read the ingredients just in case.
Very much that my brain is probably misconstruing two things as being similar when they're not. And that's like a spicy dill versus chili. As I don't eat chili very often, so. Come on, dude, I want to eat it.
Go ahead and eat it. I'm just... Okay, the only okay, I didn't see anything that says anything about pickle, but the closest thing here.
Is it the citric acid?
No, actually, we wouldn't have guessed this in a million years. Jalapeno peppers.
I don't know why they smell like a dill pickle to me. I don't get it. Why does this smell like a dill pickle to me?
Technically speaking, when I was smelling it, I thought I was smelling mustard again.
And like taste-wise, no dill, no sour. It's spicy, it's as it should be. It's not even that spicy.
No.
It doesn't even tingle my tongue. Okay, that sounded off.
No, that's fine.
Almost.
So I was reading something on the bottom of the bag.
No,
here.
that's okay.
It was like, it says here, find your next favorite Chester's flavor. There's Chester's honey barbecue flavored potato chips and Chester's cheddar jalapeno flavored popcorn. Guess what? One of those things I said is the actual other one that we'll be doing sometime. I'll let you guys decide which one I'm talking about.
I'm doing the finger licking test. I want to see if it tastes different from the residue on my... I'm not putting my licked fingers back in the bag.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
No, I'm gonna slobber all over your Cheetos here. No.
Or you can wash your hand. Well, actually, you can't.
I will when I'm done.
I was gonna say you can do it right now, but then I realized no, you're gonna be on camera. Never mind. I can pause this done. And you can do it that way.
Nah.
All right, fine. More for me.
If anything, I more want to look at the ingredients myself to see if I can figure out
Still down.
what might be causing me to smell the dill. I just want to look at the ingredients.
I was gonna say.
Plus, I grabbed at it with my other hand.
Okay.
The not licked fingers hand.
Well, you could have just done that.
Yeah, but then I'd get cheese powder on these fingers and I'd have to lick them, and then we have a real problem.
You can always wait till we're done. See, I still got cheese powder on these fingers. I'm not licking them yet. I usually don't lick my fingers unless I know I'm done eating my chips. But yeah, I didn't see anything on there that said anything about dill, mustard, or pickles. The only one that kind of was the wild card in there for me that I noticed was the jalapeno pepper. Yeah, the only one on there that was the wild card for me was the jalapeno peppers, which I was like, oh, I wouldn't have guessed that. But yeah, that Carolina barbecue ones, I was eating them for a while and I kind of had to throw them away because like I can't take that mustard taste anymore.
Okay.
I used to like mustard for a little while, but then I kind of like started hating it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, I have a baby story about myself, and this is something my parents have told me many times, and I always remember this. So when my parents tried to feed me baby food, they couldn't get me to get me any baby food in me. They tried every flavor under the sun, but they finally found one flavor out of all the baby food that I actually did eat, and to this day, I don't eat that flavor. I don't eat that flavor, or basically that kind of fruit or whatever it is anymore.
What is it?
Want to take a guess?
Is it tomato?
No,
Okay.
it's banana.
Ah.
My mom said that she would have to clear the grocery aisle of all the banana flavored baby food just for me. And
Apparently, I didn't eat green baby foods.
Mm.
Like, I don't know what was wrong with the color green in my infant brain. Maybe somehow my brain was just like, well, green probably means vegetable, so no thank you. But I was also not even a year old, so it's like, how the heck would I have known that correlation?
But
You
yeah,
don't make those kind of correlations when you're that young.
but yeah, similar to how my grandma always said that we Tootsie rolled her out.
Okay, you win.
Apparently, my mom must have overdone it with the banana food because to this day I don't eat bananas, but I do like banana flavored stuff like candies and whatnot.
Okay, I think I figured out what's going on here.
Okay.
So
And she still continues to hold the bag while I'm waiting to eat more chips. Thank you. Thank you.
So one of the ingredients, it's in the 2% and less, but I think it's enough, is sour cream. And one of my favorite flavors of a particular chip is the sour cream and dill. And this smells very similar. And as I was reading through,
I
noticed
skimming.
it's got garlic powder, onion powder,
I read those.
yep, and various salts. And I think because those, like garlic powder, and I read this recently, but when you don't actually cook garlic, the chemicals in it can actually have a burning sensation because they haven't been like what you know what I'm talking about though, because it's a cooking thing, and I looked it up. But,
Same with onions.
yeah, same with onions. And so I'm thinking dill's got that sort of sharp hit to it in terms of smell. So I wonder if that's what I'm smelling here. Is the really intense like sharpness that can come with onion powder and garlic powder, along with the sour cream, and that's why it smells so similar to dill pickle for me. Yeah, I think I've solved my personal feelings about it, but the saddest thing about this is that the very first ingredient is enriched cornmeal, and I'm like,
That's the
and
whole
then
point
there's,
of the chip.
not entirely. Chips are made of potatoes, dude.
Not those ones.
Yeah, no, not these ones, but
Exactly. It's rich
but,
cornmeal.
the fact that that's one of the first ingredients, which means that's what it mostly is, and then everything after that, except for vegetable oil, I have trouble reading. That's like 4 ingredients in a row that I cannot read very well.
That's fine.
Followed by oils, which I can read. And then on the list of less than 2%, it starts out with a word I do know, followed by a word I don't know, and they are one thing. And then it just gets harder and harder to read from there with little bits of like onion and powder and spice. And I'm like, cool. What about the zickloflavin in between? No, whatever it is.
What the hell are you talking about?
There's riboflavin in there, which I forget whatever riboflavin is. There's a monosulfate.
Is that in the 2%? Is that in the less than 2% part?
It's all over. It's literally every other ingredient is something that is clearly a type of spice or preservative that I cannot fully read.
Thiamin?
I don't know. Like I said, it's like every other word.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm saying this right. It's thiamin.
Yeah, there's thiamin.
Yeah, thiamin mononitrate.
Yeah, mononitrate. There's a sulfate in there of some kind.
Sulfate.
I know it's sulfate, but there's a word just before it that like describes what kind of sulfate it is, and I'm like, I don't recognize that word. It's before the 2%. It's one of the main ones. It's before vegetable oil, I think, which is literally like the second line.
Sodium dicetate. Sorry.
Yeah, like I know sodium.
Yeah. Okay. Sodium dicetate. Something like that.
This is
I
what
can
I
hear
mean
it in
by
my
every other
I can
word.
hear it in my head, but I cannot get it to say it.
That's okay. I just think it's funny. Very recently we went from eating something that had very easily to read ingredients to this monstrosity.
Disodium insulcinate. That's a
Yeah, that's a new one for me. I've never seen insulcinate before.
Oh, insulcinate. Thank you. That's probably actually how you say it.
Probably, but
Words. I cannot speak them unless somebody says it for me for the first time, and then I can get it. It's similar to how I used to call Rayquazilia.
Even though I'm pretty sure most people were saying Rayquaza, even though I believe it is Rayquaza.
Well, no. Okay. So
Or is it Rayquaza? Because I know Quasars.
they take these both. You can say it both ways because in Destiny Deoxys they say Rayquaza, but if you do that Pokedex 3D Pro thing that was on the 3DS, they say Rayquaza.
I don't think Pokemon knows how to describe its own Pokemon names sometimes.
Or it's
It
probably
make up its mind sometimes.
either that, either I don't know if it's actually Pokemon themselves. This is the English versions. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no.
Japan's probably got their way of saying it. And it's probably a lot more
Probably
easier
more
for.
straightforward.
Exactly, because Japan's language is so much more simpler compared to English. Because English sucks.
It's not that our language is complicated.
Their
language is complicated in the sense that it has so many characters to learn. But in terms of like structure, it's very structured, very formulaic. And so thus, once you know what you're doing, you can really run with it.
I was told.
But with the English language, you can get like read and read, and they're spelled the exact same way because they're both referring to reading a book or you have read a book. But then there's red, the color, which is not spelled the same as red, as in you read a book. It's very mean.
If I remember, I don't know if this was in school or just after school, but I was told that English is the hardest language to learn ever because of some of the slang we have in our.
I don't know if we're the most difficult to learn. I think we're second. Because after having looked pretty extensively at the Chinese language,
yeah, I could.
Your tone, and you can have the exact same word. Let's say XI.
I mean, just look at me when I play Genshin.
The way you say it, whether you use more force, less force, higher pitch, lower pitch, can totally change the meaning. It can be a totally different word. I feel like because there's so much tonal related things going on with the Chinese language, that it puts its level of why does that one thing mean so many things but not so many other things when it looks like it should mean that thing. It puts America's version of doing that to shame, or at least America's English.
And not to mention our English was adapted from the UK, we came up with.
Technically,
well,
we're a Latin alphabet and it all comes from Latin. We did take British English. But then I think when we were doing certain things, when we were separating ourselves from
the American Revolutionary War,
we decided to focus more heavily on pronunciation based on its origin and roots, Latin, and it's actually British English that has deviated the most from Latin. So American English actually brought it back around. No, I saw this and it was quite literally a video made by a British American YouTuber.
What I was going to say was that Gabriel Iglesias, a.k.a. the Fluffy Guy, even mentioned in one of his comedy shows that actually does, that everybody can watch, either on Netflix or Comedy Central or whatever. He did say that British version of English sounds much more proper than what we say here in America, than how we say.
And I would say that it only sounds that way to us because we don't hear our own accent. And we have stereotypes and mindsets that go with what we think English or British English sounds like. Whereas other countries may not feel the same way. They might hear British English and American English, but they might be like someone from Sudan who speaks Sudanese. And they're just like, I mean, there's an accent, but they're basically the same thing. Probably to them. I mean, I don't see them as thinking, one sounds more sophisticated than the other. There's that English and there's that English.
Back to the Gabriel thing. He even mentioned when he was bringing up the English that they speak over there, he's like, you guys can talk about trash. It'll sound fantastic. and then literally he goes into a rant. He's like, look at all this trash here. How we could leave this travesty here? This is disgusting. And then you got some bystanders like, I don't know what's going on over there, but it sounds like the shit hit the fan.
I think American English just has the reputation of being far more blunt in its way of saying things. It's far more straightforward.
Right.
Literally related to what I said, that we were very much went back to being as close to our Latin roots, being more literal in a sense. And I think because British English has deviated, more from that, they can make things sound nicer. But I also think it's kind of an exotifying kind of thing. Like Americans hear British English and we're just like, yo, that's pretty.
Pretty much. Anyway, we're 15 minutes in. We should probably give our rating now.
We should.
Why don't you do yours?
I was disappointed. I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10. Flavor wasn't strong enough for me.
I'll agree with you.
That's the only reason, though. It's not related to the ingredients, because obviously this was going to be a snack that has weird ingredients.
And what I mean when I say I agree with you,
And it
that's
smells
6 out of
great.
10.
And, like, the flavor, solid. Definitely a more subtle chili flavor, not super spicy, but that's obvious because there's cream in this, and cheeses, which will mellow the flavor a lot more. So it made sense. But, like, the finger lick test, it tasted about the same as the actual seasoning on the chip, that's good. That means the chip isn't like rubbing off all its seasoning and you're getting like a naked chip and like seasoning all over your fingers. But it also means that I didn't get that really strong kick of flavor that I was hoping for, because I wanted it and I didn't get it from the chip. So I'm like, maybe if I lick my fingers, nope, it's the same.
And I'm gonna agree with you on the 6 out of 10 thing, but for me it's a little bit different because I can't taste the chili or cheese or anything in there. But the chip part of it is okay. I just can't get that taste of chili or cheese out of it. I was getting kind of something else a little bit, and even a little bit of the aftertaste wasn't,
I don't mind the aftertaste actually. There's not much of it there for me actually.
Okay, but I couldn't taste any like real chili or cheese on there that I could.
And see, that's perfect for me because I don't really eat chili cheese. So,
I love chili cheese. I love A&W.
But even I'm asking for bolder flavor.
I love chili cheese fries from A&W. Those are the best.
I was hoping for something with bolder flavor.
And here's the thing. If Groby's watching this, I got to call his ass out.
Oh.
Chili does not need beans unless it's a stew. If you have chili with your hot dogs or your french fries, no effing beans.
So you and we both hate beans.
Yeah, well, I can't. Here's the thing.
You like beans in a really specific way.
I like beans in my chili only if it's a stew. But if it's a sauce, I will say this. Chili cheese fries or chili cheese dogs. The chili is technically a sauce, not a stew.
Yep.
That
and the main reason I don't care for chili is because I hate beans in general. I've never liked beans. But also because I feel like every time somebody makes a chili sauce of any kind, they include chunks of onion in it. And I don't want chunks of onion.
Neither do I. I'm not a big onion.
I hate that.
I'm not a big fan of onions in general.
I'm also thinking specifically of like hot dogs though. So.
Well, I'm not a big fan of onions in general.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the flavor a little bit, like if it's like from onion powder or Funyuns.
No, for me, onions are entirely a texture issue, where my taste buds say yes, but my brain says, oh god, no, please spit it out.
Yeah, but I like Funyuns. That's like my only way I'm actually gonna. That's the closest thing I can actually enjoy an actual onion ring that I would love. Mm-hmm. Because it's just you can taste the onion, but it's not.
I had a friend once who took an entire onion, emulsified it, put it in a blender, and it became the powder. And he mixed it into a mashed potato recipe, and I ended up eating basically onions because it was so tiny that it couldn't set off my dislike of the texture. So I just enjoyed it, and it was awesome.
That sounds interesting.
He just wanted to see if he could, cook something with onion in it that I'd actually eat, and he succeeded. And I'm like, damn, good job.
But anyway, thanks so much for watching this food review. I've been BigLT.
I've been SFParker.
This was 19 minutes long.
We're getting into a habit of this, it seems.
It seems like it. We keep coming up with some subjects to talk about.
We talk about them too much. We probably should stop now.
No, it's always fun to have story time. But anyway, we'll see you guys next time for another food review. You have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.